What's up, guys? It's Rhett from the 100-acre wood Highlands, and it is fixing to pour down hard. In Oklahoma in the springtime, sometimes we get tornadoes, sometimes we get the thunderstorms with high winds and a lot of rain. Today they're calling for up to baseball size hail in some areas, and so we've already been watching the news and seeing some people send in pictures of hail that's bigger than golf ball size. And so I don't know if we're going to get hail like that, but we've already covered up the tomato plants and the pepper plants in the garden for the 4th time this spring to try to protect them from all the different elements out there. But tomorrow, a company called Dunn's Fish Farm is coming to El Reno, Oklahoma, and I'm making a drive out there to go pick up some baby fish. Last year they came, and I went to a feed store here south of town and picked up 100 bass, catfish, hybrid bluegill, some red ear, and minnows. Tomorrow I'm picking up more of the 6 to 8 inch catfish and 15 pounds of minnows to put in the pond. But about a week or so ago, it rained so hard that we caught so much runoff and so much rain that the pond actually flooded out of its banks and around the spillway. And I'm hoping it doesn't do that again, because I want to be able to release the fish into the pond tomorrow and not have any chance of them escaping around the backside of the pond dam. So if this is your first time ever finding me on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of stuff with the cows and chickens and around the farm on the garden and different stuff like that. And so thanks for watching, guys. Let's check it out. Definitely not baseball size, but some areas got a lot more hail than we did. All right, well, that storm really wasn't all that bad for us here, although we did get a little bit of maybe what we call dime size hail. But there's a town called Mustang about 15 or 20 minutes from here that got some great big hail. So fortunately, we missed most of that. We're gonna be able to take everything off of the vegetable garden. The cows here are a little bit wet after the rain, but they don't mind it too much. But I'm going to show you a little bit of our pond and kind of the dry creek bed that isn't so dry anymore. So think of our property as a long rectangle that kind of comes down into a valley, and that valley is just constantly holding water and leading down to our pond. And it didn't used to do that when I was a kid. It used to maybe fill up, you know, once during a really good rainstorm during the springtime. But for the past year or two, it's kind of remained with some standing water for most of the year. So we're actually having somebody from the NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service, something like that, coming out to check out the property sometime in the next week or two to kind of give us some suggestions on what we can do to help with some of this water issue. But in the meantime, we're gonna go walk through that creek bed and check out how much water is in there, because it's springtime. We're gonna get more rain and the pond is probably gonna flood some more. And so I really don't want to lose any of these fish. I've been spending a lot of money and time trying to get our pond back up to a good fishing quality. When I was a kid, we used to catch some good bass and perch and other things out of it, but about 15 years ago or so, it went nearly dry. And ever since then, it's been more of in a flooded state. We had to kind of had it dug out a little bit more at that time, but last year I went through and restocked it with a bunch of bass and perch and hybrid bluegill and the red ears, and I've been feeding the fish with some commercial fish feed. And so tomorrow we're gonna go get some more minnows and some more catfish and release them into the pond, and hopefully that will help feed the existing fish that are in there and improve the quality of the catfishing and everything. So that'll be fun for us and the kids to fish in the future. So this is the area that the pond flooded out of its banks yesterday. So our pond dam kind of extends down the length of the pond and then curves around, and right here we have a little bit lower of a dip down, and we had so much runoff and so much rain that the water level rose up all the way to this spillway and flowed around behind the back side of the pond dam. There is a tin horn that is supposed to kind of control the level of the pond about midway down the pond dam, but it is so backed up that it slows down the draining process. So I'm hoping that with all this rain that we're just now about to get, that the pond will not flood to this point again, because I don't want to lose all these baby fish we're fixing to put in here. So this area here in the kind of the creek bottom is kind of illustrates part of the problem. There's just standing water all over the place. There's not a exactly defined channel where this water drains through. It just kind of, there's channels running over here, there's channels running out over that direction, over there. It's just, there's like multiple different little streams that the water has just started making for itself over the last few years as water has come through here, and it all just leads down to that pond, and the tin horn gets backed up, and so the pond floods out of its bank into the yard and over the spillway eventually. And so, and I don't know exactly what the solution is. I don't know, maybe it's build another pond somewhere, maybe it's come through with a backhoe and cut out a defined trench. Maybe it's to add in a second tin horn somehow. But I'm hoping that the guys at the NCRS or NRCS, I'm not sure which one that is, will be able to give us some good suggestions on how to handle this water issue that we're having here on the farm. Okay, so we're fixing to head to El Reno to pick up the fish that we've ordered. I'm going to show you a video I took with my cell phone of the pond flooding the other day. Pond is flooded way out of its banks from last night, and supposed to get even more rain this afternoon. Those are railroad ties that make a bench where we have a campfire spot. So those have flooded up. You can see how high it's getting on the pond dam. Way out of its banks. Looks like it goes way up through the field, and then here the water is going over the spillway, and this was actually running water over the spillway earlier, so hopefully we didn't lose too many baby fish. All right, let's go get some fish. They were super busy there. We were in line to get our fish for 2.5 hours just to get 50 6 to 8 inch channel catfish. And this is what they look like. Whole bunch of little channel catfish in there.
I want to touch them.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. And then we got 10 pounds of minnows. And the minnows are basically to feed the bass that we stocked in here last year. So last year we put in 100 largemouth bass that were about 2 to 3 inches long. We put in 100 channel catfish that were 3 to 4 inches long. We put in the copper-nosed bluegill and some red ear and some other minnows. But today we're basically giving our bass more to eat. So look at all these little fish in here.
Like, I think I'm gonna see
Thousands and thousands and thousands of these little bitty minnows. So they said the best way to introduce these into the pond is to put a little bit of the pond water in these bags and kind of let them get used to that. And then they said release a few of the fish and see if they swim away. And if they do, you can go ahead and release the rest of them. So we're gonna go ahead and use this coffee mug to get a little bit of water out of the pond and see how they do. All right, put a little bit of that water in there. All right, pour it all in. Okay, go get another cup full. All of these minnows. I'm gonna kind of step over to this clear water. See if we can release them without making a big, huge mess.
I wanna release them with you.
Okay. Set that cup down. Okay. Step in here and just slowly tilt the bag. All right. See if any come out. Okay, test it. Now, some of them swam away, some of them did not. So let's get them another cup of water.
Only some of them got used to it.
Yeah. Some of them swam off. Okay, get another cup.
Okay, I'm gonna...
Pour it in there. Okay, one more cup. Pour it in there. Okay, let's give them a second.
Look, I made the cup all clean.
Nice. Okay, let's see if we can release a few more. Okay, tilt it up just a little bit. Tilt it up. Okay, some of them coming out of there. Swimming off. Some of them are swimming off. There they go, okay. Whoa, look at all those fish go. I'll try not to step in the water so it doesn't get all muddy. And see if you can scoop up just a little bit of water, okay? Don't go any further. Just step up right there.
No money.
Don't pour it in yet. I want to look at them first.
To see if their water's the same.
Just want to see them before the water gets all dirty. Oops.
I wanna see them.
Can't. Okay, this is our bag of catfish. One of the bags of catfish. And
I am
don't pour it in yet. Don't pour it in yet.
That
I want
says pan. I was talking to the camera.
Oop, little slippery guy.
I want to pick him up.
No, they got little spines on them. I don't want you to get poked. I've already got poked. Oop.
They're all slippery.
Yes, they are.
Can I touch one once you pick it up?
If I get him out of here.
So funny.
All right, so there's a little bitty, teeny tiny channel cat. And probably about 6 inches long. And we're gonna release these guys into the water. And then we've been feeding channel catfish with some floating catfish food. And hopefully these will grow to be into great big guys that we can catch. Don't you think?
Yeah, I want to touch him.
Touch him? Ooh, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put him back in the bag. You add a little water in there. Okay, let's get another cup.
Stop right here.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to show them the pond water. So here's our pond water.
Okay. Put it in there. All right, get another cup.
They need a lot of water.
Okay. We're gonna let a few go
I want to...
and see if they swim off, okay? So we're just gonna let a couple out right now, Lucy, to see if they make it, okay? So here comes one. There he is in the water. He's swimming the wrong way, guy.
Yeah.
The pond's the other direction.
Try to get him.
There he goes. Look at him. So he's swimming He's just not getting really out of the grass yet, so
Go that way.
I think he will go. Let's let a few more.
Okay,
Okay, can you tilt up the back of the bag?
I want to watch them go.
Okay, tilt it up. There goes another one. Tilt it up. A few more. A few more. Pour it out, Lucy. Okay, now don't step on them.
Oh, one's coming.
That's a pretty big one right there.
Where?
I just went up in the water.
Ah!
Lucy, don't step. You need to stand still. See him? So, okay, those all look like they've swam off. So these tiny things are our minnows.
Who's the minnows? I got him.
Okay, throw them in the water.
I can't believe I finally got the minnow. Here? But I want to let him go. Okay?
Okay, let him go and see if he swims off.
If he doesn't, I'm going to go over to this clear water, okay?
Okay.
And see if he goes off.
Here's a catfish right here.
One of the babies?
Yep. See him? There's another one over there.
Where?
Just right over there. There's several of them. There goes one. Fish. So the place we got all these fish from is called Dunn's Fish Farm. And they make deliveries in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, and maybe some other states to a lot of the local feed stores. And you can get all kinds of different fish in different sizes. And so, super excited to be able to release these fish in here. They're really cool to look at when they're in these bags, aren't they, Lucy?
Yeah.
All right, let's get another cup full of water. See the spots on this little channel cat. It is pretty.
It might be a girl.
Maybe. A little more water in there. Okay, get another cup. Here, let's come over here and get a cup right here. Just stick it down in that grass.
It's okay if you put that.
Yeah, because they're gonna go live in the grass. Okay, put it in here. Okay, another cup. One more cup. Put it in. Oh, you missed it.
Yeah.
Grab one more. Okay, that's good.
I want to see this water.
A little fast. Here they are.
There's one.
Kind of hide here in the moss. No, we're letting them go. We got to let them get used to the water and swim off and find little places to hide and live. You can see them swimming off through the water. Go grow big, catfish. So everything has been released into the pond. Looks like most of the fish swam off and they disappeared, and so hopefully they're doing good. I'm hoping that the bass will eat up those minnows and grow big so we can catch them here, and I'm hoping those catfish will find the floating food that we throw out for them, and they grow really fast actually with some supplemental feed like we give them. But if you guys have got ponds and you're wanting to stock them, Dunn's Fish Farms, who I bought mine from, and I'm sure there's lots of other companies out there like them that deliver to different areas. I found them on Facebook. They were posting their schedule of the different towns they were going to be and what time they were going to be. Called ahead and placed my order. I think the 6 to 8 inch catfish cost me 75 cents a piece, and the minnows were probably one of the most expensive parts. They cost almost $11 a pound. But I wasn't able to get any bass this year, although I did put 100 bass in here last year. And so, you know, hopefully we'll be able to get some good fish. Hopefully we'll be able to get some good fishing going on later on. But if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. You can find me on Facebook by searching 100 Acre Wood Highlands. If you got questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.